In 2025, the online marketplace still lists surprising items. Devices marketed as security, novelty, or professional gear that can nevertheless create real risks. Many of these products sit in a gray zone, legally available but ethically fraught, or legal in some places and prohibited in others. This video is a sober look at 60 such items, what they are, why regulators worry, and the potential legal or safety problems they raise. This isn't a how-to guide. It's a reminder. Availability does not equal permission. Know your local laws, respect privacy, and prioritize safety over curiosity. Real autonomous turret. Autonomous defensive turrets marketed for perimeter protection detect motion and can respond automatically. The legal and ethical problems are profound. Automated use of force, liability for mistakes, and regulatory bans in many jurisdictions. Insurers and authorities view these systems cautiously. Civilian deployment of autonomous weaponry raises questions far beyond simple home security. Full-length mirror concealed gun cabinet. A floor mirror, concealing a compartment for rifles or valuables, blends into decor for discreet storage. Concealment can reduce opportunistic theft, but it is not a substitute for certified safes or secure storage protocols. Owners must follow firearm laws, safe storage regulations, and consider the risks of hidden access in multi-occupant homes. CA9, commercial coil gun. Boutique coil projectile systems marketed to collectors or researchers raise regulatory flags because of projectile energy and firing capability. Even when described as experimental, such devices can fall under weapons or export controls in many countries. Their existence prompts questions about appropriate oversight and lawful possession for non-professional buyers. Protect anti-burglary fog cannon. Fog systems that quickly fill spaces to disorient intruders are sold for retail and high-value protection. While non-toxic in commercial use, they impact visibility, emergency response, and occupant safety if misused. Deployment must comply with fire codes, health considerations, and liability rules. These systems belong in professional security plans, not ad hoc homeowner experiments. Aluma, smart lamp safe. Decorative lamps with an integrated quick-access safe offer concealment and remote unlocking features. The convenience of app-controlled access creates cybersecurity and failure mode concerns, and quick access can conflict with secure storage requirements for regulated items. Treat smart furniture as complementary to certified safes rather than a primary security measure. T4E HDX, less lethal pump-action platform. High performance, CO2, powered projectile systems, marketed as less lethal options, have real kinetic force. They are used in training or controlled environments, but in civilian contexts they can still injure people or animals. Legal classifications vary by region. Responsible ownership requires awareness of local rules and an emphasis on non-escalatory safety measures. Grimberg FSC, less lethal carbine platform. Specialist platforms, framed as less lethal projectors, combine high rates of fire and significant projectile energy. Even when intended for sport or defense training, their capabilities attract regulatory attention and export scrutiny. Where allowed, they require stringent legal compliance and are best handled by professionals operating under clear rules of engagement. Break-resistant doors. High-strength doors built to resist forced entry, improve time to breach, and deter opportunistic intruders. Proper installation must meet egress, fire, and building code requirements. Over-fortification without professional design can create hazards. Reinforced doors are an important defensive layer when integrated responsibly into compliant architectural plans. LiveX Pava Pepper payload launcher. Long-range irritant projectiles disperse chemical payloads intended to deter or incapacitate attackers at a distance. These systems pose health risks to bystanders, pets, and people with respiratory conditions and are regulated in many areas. Use in populated spaces carries legal and ethical consequences. Regulation often treats them as controlled security tools. Break-resistant security glazing. Specialized glass formulated to resist impacts and blasts, slows forced entry, and increases occupant protection. Ratings vary by threat type: burglary, ballistic, or blast resistance, and installation must account for frames and code compliance. No glazing is invincible. Glazing is one element of a layered security strategy, not a standalone solution. Tactical concealment wall shelf. Shelving units engineered to hide compartments for valuables or firearms offer concealment against casual theft. Concealment reduces opportunistic losses, but can encourage unsafe practices if used instead of certified safes. Responsible storage, clear household policies, and legal compliance remain critical when using decorative concealment solutions. Decorative gun storage furniture. Tables, cabinets, and art pieces fitted with hidden safes blend security with design. They reduce visibility of stored items but vary widely in protective quality. For regulated items, owners should rely on certified safes and proper locking standards. Decorative storage can be a secondary layer but not the primary security control. Smart Lamp Quick Access Safe. Motorized lamp safes that open via mobile apps or RFID promise rapid access. Cybersecurity risks, power failure modes, and fallback access must be considered. Quick access mechanisms can be beneficial in some scenarios but require robust encryption, redundancy, and compliance with local storage requirements for regulated possessions. High-volume fog plus alarm and strobe systems. Integrated fog generators with high-decibel alarms and strobe lighting deter theft by denying visibility and drawing attention. Professional deployments consider occupant safety, fire codes, and emergency responder coordination. In residential use, indiscriminate activation risks, health effects, and false alarm penalties. Contract with certified installers is essential. Taser-style strike flashlight. Flashlights that combine intense illumination with an electroshock function are marketed for personal protection. Many jurisdictions regulate or prohibit disguised electroshock devices. Carrying or deploying such hybrids may create criminal exposure. If personal defense is a concern, choose lawful, clearly labeled devices and follow local rules. Less lethal, high-rate shotgun. CO2 or compressed gas platforms that deliver high volumes of projectiles are intended for training or crowd control contexts. Even non-lethal ammunition carries injury risk and legal limitations. Civilian ownership and use are often tightly regulated, and reliance on such systems for home defense is rarely recommended without professional oversight. Zombie-proof, fortified home concept. Extreme fortification designs, retractable bridges, concrete doors, sealed perimeters illustrate the limits of architectural security. These bespoke solutions require engineering, permits, and emergency access planning. They serve niche, high-threat needs and raise zoning, safety, and ethical questions if implemented without proper approvals. Retractable drawbridge and concrete door systems. Motorized, heavy structural elements that secure access points create formidable barriers but affect emergency egress and municipal compliance. Installation necessitates specialist engineering and coordination with first responders. As with any major retrofit, balance protection benefits against legal obligations and public safety considerations. Powered security shutters. Automated shutters seal windows and doors quickly for storms or intrusion events. They increase delay and visibility control but must integrate with fire escape planning and maintenance cycles. Misconfigured shutters that block exits or fail during emergencies can create new hazards. Professional installation and code adherence are mandatory. Tactical shelf with RFID lock and hydraulic lifter. Shelves with hydraulic mechanisms and electronic access combine convenience with concealment. Mechanical and electronic failure modes must be planned for, and owners should not rely on them for secure storage of regulated items. These design-forward solutions work best as part of a comprehensive security and safety plan. Coil-gun accessories and rapid-fire electric projectile systems. Ancillary parts and high-energy projectile devices attract scrutiny because they increase performance beyond hobbyist norms. Where such systems are legal, they still pose export, transport, and safety concerns. Buyers should assess legal status thoroughly and avoid experimental weapons without clear professional justification. High-intensity security strobes and disorienting lights. Brilliant strobe systems emphasize attention and can disorient potential intruders. Yet intense lights can impair occupants, first responders, or motorists if used improperly. Regulatory limits and safe placement guidelines exist to prevent harm. Installers should coordinate with local authorities to minimize unintended consequences. High-performance non-lethal projectiles. Specialized rounds designed to incapacitate while avoiding lethality still carry blunt or penetrating force. Legal regimes vary, and misuse or improper target selection can cause severe injury. Use of such munitions is typically restricted to trained professionals and regulated scenarios. Civilians should prioritize de-escalation and evacuation. Training variant inert practice projectiles. Less hazardous training rounds replicate operational systems for instruction while minimizing harm. Even training variants require responsible handling and clear safety protocols. The availability of inert rounds does not change rules governing actual defensive use. Training must be supervised and compliant with local law. Break-resistant multi-hit glazing. Multi-layer glazing that withstands repeated impact adds dwell time against forced entry. Performance depends on frame integrity and installation quality. Mismatched components reduce effectiveness. Designers should select glazing systems matched to threat levels and ensure compliance with building regulations and fire safety standards. Concealed furniture safes. Low-profile safes embedded within furniture reduce visibility of stored valuables. While useful for opportunistic theft reduction, certified safes provide tested resistance to fire and forced entry and should be primary storage for high-value or regulated items. Concealment works best when combined with certified protection and proper access controls. Fortress-style exterior facade systems. Removable or reconfigurable exterior elements create sealed courtyards and fortified perimeters in high-security properties. These systems require land use permissions, emergency planning, and engineering validation. They are practical only in specialized contexts and demand collaboration with planners and emergency services. Reinforced window framing and shutter assemblies. Upgraded frames and shutter systems improve window resilience against forced entry and storms. Proper design ensures frame, glazing, and fasteners work together. Overly aggressive retrofits that ignore egress requirements can violate codes. Always consult structural professionals and local regulations before installation. Smart home integrated safes. App-connected safes and biometric locks add convenience but introduce data security and failure mode considerations. Remote unlocking, cloud dependence, and integration with home networks create attack surfaces. Vendors with robust privacy policies and firmware update practices are preferable. Fallback mechanical access remains important in outages. High-capacity, less lethal multi-shot launchers. Multi-shot launchers designed for non-lethal projectiles increase volume and area denial capability. Regulatory frameworks often restrict civilian possession or usage, and repeated impacts still pose harm. Used by untrained persons in residential settings creates liability and injury risk, underscoring the need for professional deployment where legally permitted. Wall-mounted hidden outlet and everyday object cameras. Disguised cameras in outlets, clocks, or chargers record without obvious signs, and their covert use frequently breaches privacy laws. Hosts and landlords have faced prosecution for undisclosed recordings in rentals. Transparency and consent are essential. Visible monitoring with notice is the lawful and ethical path for security. High-power mini-spotting scopes. Small, powerful monoculars, marketed for outdoor recreation, can deliver surprisingly fine detail at long range. Used to observe private property or individuals, they cross into stalking and voyeurism concerns. Optics have legitimate recreational uses. Users should avoid directing them at private spaces where people expect privacy. Lawmate CMTC-10 Covert Key-fob Camera. Key-fob form factor cameras provide discrete recording capabilities that appeal to investigators but can violate wiretapping and consent laws when used covertly. Hidden audio-visual tools found in private settings often trigger felony charges. Ethical recording requires visible notice and adherence to applicable consent statutes. Proxmark-style NFC, RFID cloner. Devices that read and emulate contactless access cards are valuable to security teams auditing systems, but are frequently misapplied to clone credentials. Unauthorized duplication of access tokens is a form of fraud and may be criminally charged. Use only with explicit authorization and documented scope in professional testing contexts. Security tag neodymium magnet removers. Powerful magnets that detach retail anti-theft tags are legitimate tools for store staff but are commonly purchased by thieves to remove tags and steal goods. Possessing such magnets in suspicious contexts can be treated as possession of burglary tools. Retail equipment should be sourced through official channels and restricted to authorized personnel. Wall acoustic listening. Stethoscope devices. Devices that amplify structural vibrations can pick up intelligible speech through partitions, creating severe privacy concerns when misused. Manufacturing claims for pipe inspection or diagnostics mask their eavesdropping potential. Unauthorized listening into private conversations typically violates wiretap laws and carries criminal penalties. High-powered handheld lasers exceeding safety limits. Handheld lasers marketed for astronomy sometimes exceed legal output and can cause permanent eye damage or endanger aircraft. Regulatory authorities prosecute deliberate targeting of aircraft or vehicles. Mislabeling and counterfeit ratings increase buyer risk. Treat powerful lasers as regulated industrial equipment, not recreational toys. RTL-SDR software-defined radio kits. Wideband SDR receivers unlock an educational view of radio, but can also receive restricted signals if misused. Interception of protected or encrypted channels may breach communication statutes. Hobbyists should confine activity to permitted bands and avoid decoding transmissions they lack authorization to access. Car key relay and signal capture devices. Relay kits that extend keyless entry signals are central to modern vehicle theft methods. While marketed for diagnostics, their misuse enables unauthorized unlocking and ignition. Owners should adopt signal-blocking pouches and other manufacturer recommendations, rather than experimenting with devices that facilitate theft. Power outlet hidden cameras. Outlet-style cameras conceal lenses behind a realistic socket faceplate, enabling covert recording in private spaces. Their secretive nature makes them particularly problematic under privacy and anti-surveillance laws. Property owners must disclose any recording and avoid hidden surveillance in areas where people expect privacy. Mini high-magnification telescopes. Compact optics approaching military performance offer powerful long-range observation abilities. Export restrictions may apply to higher-end models, and casual use for observing private property can violate privacy and export laws. Amateur optics users should respect legal boundaries and avoid invasive observation. Replica firearm lighters and novelty weapon lookalikes. Lighters or props that closely mimic firearms provoke dangerous misunderstandings and are frequently banned in public settings. Displaying a realistic replica can prompt armed responses and serious legal consequences. Novelties that resemble weapons are poor choices, where public safety and perception matter. Tactical quick access cabinet. Cabinets that open rapidly under electronic or magnetic actuation provide quick retrieval options. Mechanical complexity and electronic reliance mean failure modes are possible. Owners should maintain redundancy and follow legal storage obligations for regulated items. Quick access must not compromise safety or regulatory compliance. Modular tactical storage furniture. Interlocking furniture modules with hidden compartments serve as discrete storage for documents or tools. They help reduce casual theft, but are not engineered to resist determined tampering. Use them as part of a layered approach and pair with certified security where necessary for high-value or regulated possessions. Rapid deploy mechanical barriers. Motorized gates, retractable walls, and heavy shutters form physical barriers to access but demand permits, engineering sign-off, and emergency coordination. Such installations can impede first responders if poorly planned. These are architectural measures for specialized properties and require professional design and municipal approval. Architectural safe room concepts. Engineered rooms with reinforced construction, independent ventilation, and communications provide temporary sanctuary during threats. Safe rooms require professional design to meet structural, egress, and life safety standards. They are a legitimate protective option when integrated into compliant building plans. High-performance non-lethal ammunition. Projectiles advertised as non-lethal or incapacitating still deliver kinetic energy and can cause significant injury. Their legal classification and permitted use vary greatly. Training and strict rules of engagement apply. Civilian reliance on such munitions carries liability and medical risk. Tactical lighting and alarm integration packages. Combined high-decibel sirens, strobe arrays, and notification systems amplify detection and response but require professional configuration to avoid false alarms and nuisance citations. Installers should coordinate with local authorities to ensure systems meet codes and do not endanger occupants or responders. Concealment wall mirror safes. Mirrors with hidden compartments offer stylish concealment for valuables and firearms. Concealment reduces casual loss but must be paired with certified locking and secure storage for regulated items. Owners should never rely on concealment alone to satisfy legal safe storage requirements. Reinforced door systems, kick-resistant. Doors engineered to resist blunt force and prolonged attack increase entry time and deterrence, but require compatible frames and code-compliant egress. Over-reinforcing without regard for escape or fire safety can create hazards. Professional installation and certification are essential. Pepper-projectile launcher marketed for extended ranges. Launchers that deploy chemical irritants to deny areas pose health risks to non-targets and are often regulated. Their use in populated settings can result in criminal charges and civil claims. Classified as controlled security tools in many areas, they require strict oversight and training. High-intensity green strobes and aviation interference lights. Powerful green strobes may interfere with night vision equipment and aircraft sensors. Deliberate or careless aiming at aircraft is a federal safety offense in many countries. Even ground-level misuse endangers drivers and first responders. These devices are regulated for public safety reasons. Electric shocker rings and novelty electroshock jewelry. Small jewelry delivering electric shocks is marketed as a prank or self-defense but is categorized as a concealed weapon in many jurisdictions. These items have caused injuries and sparked legal bans. Physical pranks that inflict harm carry legal consequences beyond mere embarrassment. Modified consumer drones exceeding legal limits. Drones altered to fly beyond altitude, range, or payload restrictions create substantial airspace and safety risks. Unlicensed flights near airports, events, or emergency operations provoke heavy penalties and enforcement. Respect manufacturer geofences and aviation rules to avoid serious liability. Magnetic micro earpieces for covert comms. Tiny earpieces that receive audio covertly have been used in cheating and clandestine coordination. Detection technologies and strict policies now bar their use in many testing centers and secure contexts. Possession in prohibited settings can result in severe academic and legal consequences. Stun gun phone cases and disguised electroshock devices. Phone cases hiding electroshock modules transform common items into concealed weapons in jurisdictions that ban disguised devices. Transporting them through checkpoints or into restricted buildings invites arrest. For personal safety, choose clearly labeled, legal defensive tools and adhere to local rules. GPS trackers for unconsented monitoring. Miniature trackers designed for asset recovery are misused for stalking and domestic monitoring. Placing one on another person's vehicle or belongings without permission often constitutes a criminal offense. Legal and ethical tracking requires ownership or documented consent from the tracked party. Police-style LED light bars and impersonation gear. Replica emergency lights and sirens permit a civilian vehicle to mimic official authority. Use on public roads is impersonation and typically a felony. Even transporting such gear risks suspicion and legal consequences. Visual authority should remain with trained and authorized responders. Everyday object spy cameras, clocks, chargers, detectors. Hidden cameras in common items record unnoticed and have resulted in prosecutions of hosts and landlords. Where surveillance is necessary, visible systems with notice and consent offer lawful protections. Covert recording in private spaces is generally illegal and ethically indefensible. Wall and tactical concealment safes. Variations on panel, shelf, and wall safes provide diverse concealment and quick access options. Their utility depends on build quality and adherence to safe storage rules. Combine concealment with certified locking and responsible access policies to meet legal and safety expectations. These 60 devices illustrate a single truth. Modern consumer technology can be both useful and dangerous, depending on who uses it and how. Many of the products we covered have legitimate industrial, professional, or design uses, but their casual availability to untrained or malicious actors creates real, legal, and safety problems. Before buying any device that affects privacy, safety, or access, research local laws, consult professionals, and choose solutions that emphasize transparency, consent, and non-escalatory safety. The difference between protection and liability often comes down to responsible choices. Stay informed, stay lawful, and prioritize people over gadgets.